Okay. Hello. Welcome. My name is WriterMaven. You know who I am. Wrestling commentator. Concentrate on Judgment Day. Liv, Raquel, Carlito, JD, and Finn. Then talk about Damien and Rhea if necessitates. I wanted to come on today because there was some information that came out today from Scrap Daddy Adam Pierce about one of the matches that will be happening on Monday Night Raw tomorrow. It's going to be Liv and Raquel versus Io and Dakota Kai, who's returning after being concussed. Already, I'm getting some small crash outs because they're thinking that Liv will get pinned, Raquel will get pinned, and then they'll add Io to Raquel's match with Roxanne because they're saying it's heel to heel, and that's how Io gets in. I'm going to say that I'm going to stay the course, and I don't believe that I don't believe that's going to happen. Firstly, with Raquel, I think if they really wanted to, if they wanted to run Io and Raquel, or at least give Io a win, because I would think Io would probably win over Raquel like straight up. Then I think they would just ran that match. There was no reason to go all this conjecture all the way around. Triple H, like I said, Triple H isn't subtle, so there's no point to just doing all this super. There's no point to doing all this extra work just to get to the end point of Io getting into the elimination chamber. You could have just had Io versus Raquel straight up. You could have had Io versus Shayna Baszler straight up. You could have had Io versus Zoe Stark straight up if they wanted to do that. So what I'm thinking here is that no, Io is not going to get into the chamber match. She's going to have a title match with Rhea Ripley. And this is how I think it will go down. Already with the after the announcement, we had some comments from Shayna Baszler regarding this. And let me pull that up because I don't want to misquote her. So Shayna and Zoe are still involved with damage control, even with Sonya being released. So I am going to go to the X and see what was said. Because, like I said, I don't want to misquote Shayna. Look that up really quick. Shayna Baszler says, "Cool, damage control gets injured and gets rewarded again. If only Zoe Stark and I were that fragile, we could quit getting screwed out of opportunities." So this leads me to suggest, because Shayna was looking at Io last week, if y'all remember when Io was walking in, you were seeing Shayna, Zoe, and Sonya looking at Io in the background. So what I am thinking is that during this match, you will have Pure Fusion Collective. I don't know if they're going to keep the name or maybe they just drop it and just go with Shayna and Zoe, but they're going to get involved. And then I think what else is going to happen is that it's going to pull Rhea too. She's going to try and make it up to Io, where she messed up with Io last week and getting Io DQ'd. I think she's going to run out there and try to make it up to Io. So is while Damage Control is fighting with Io and probably Dakota, it's probably going to be Io. Damage Control is going to be fighting with Io. Maybe Liv and Raquel are distracting the referee. Zoe and Shayna come and start attacking Io. That brings out Rhea, and she starts fighting off Shayna and Zoe. And then Io is probably going to be mad at Rhea again because she's still interfering in her matches, staying in her business. So there's going to probably be some kind of scuffle there. And in the ensuing chaos, we will see Dakota get pinned by either Liv or Raquel. I'm thinking Raquel because I think Raquel needs the momentum going into the match with Roxanne next week. And no matter how it goes next week with Raquel or Roxanne, I'm still kind of 50-50 on that. I'm not sure. I have to see what goes on like in the coming weeks for that. But I'm believing Raquel is going to get that pin on Dakota, and then it'll be Liv and Raquel winning the match. And then Io would be pissed again at Rhea, and Damage Control not Damage Control. EO will be pissed at Rhea for interfering, and that's when we'll probably have Rhea offer up a title shot for EO to make up for what's going on. So I'm thinking it's just going to be another situation where Liv and Raquel take advantage of the chaos and get the win, and then Rhea will offer EO the title shot at Elimination Chamber because that will give Rhea something to do, and then we'll go on with all the rest of the Elimination Chamber matches. The wild card in this is Dakota. You would think that she would be a little bit more protected because she did advance all the way into the IC, but I'm thinking she's going to either split from EO. I'm thinking Damage Control is probably going to go their separate ways, and this will probably be adding more fuel to the fire because they will have Asuka coming back and Kari, and it might be a separate ways thing. Well, maybe Kari will stick with EO, or maybe even Dakota will stick with EO until they can deal with Shayna and Zoe. And then so you still have that dangling string there. So just having that string of Shayna and Zoe just still leads me to believe that it's not going to be EO at WrestleMania, because kind of like with Bianca, with Naomi and Jade, there's still too many dangling threads there that would need to be tied up in order for any kind of WrestleMania story with her to go forward. And notice how they've kind of backed off of Liv and Raquel and tag team title shot. It can come up in the future. Maybe they do double duty at WrestleMania. Like maybe night one you'll have tag team, and then maybe night two you have Liv and Rhea. Because I still think Liv has a really good shot of getting into WrestleMania by winning Elimination Chamber, because that is her match. She's been in a lot of Elimination Chamber matches, and just like with the Royal Rumble, I think this would probably be the time when they would probably pull the trigger on Liv when winning the thing. Because if it was just hers, a straight tag, I don't think they would have placed her into Elimination Chamber. They would have did something else. So you're gonna have, but I say all that to say this. It's just that you can notice that they've kind of pulled back on that tag team. They might still want to do something with Damage Control with tag team. They might want to do something with Shayna Baszler and Zoe. Maybe they want to do a tag team showcase with the titles. But it depends on what they want to do with Jade, Naomi, and Bianca. Because they can still set something up and then have Jade cost Naomi and Bianca the tag match. And then that gets their story rolling at WrestleMania, because I do think their story is going to accumulate at WrestleMania 2, and that's probably not going to be non-title, just like it was last year, like when it was Damage Control versus Jade, Naomi, and Bianca. You will have that showcase. That'll be like a little showcase match for the women. That's non-title, but we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I don't think Liv and Raquel are going to lose that match. I think this is more just to set up EO versus Rhea at EC, and I still don't think EO is going to make it to WrestleMania. And speaking of EO, I have to say that it was getting really annoying on social with her stands. Not fans. I'm not talking about her reasonable fans. I'm talking about these stands. Kind of like Rhea stands, but these stands are something else. Because today we learned that Elektra Lopez was most likely released from the WWE. That that one broke my heart. I am a fan of Elektra. I really liked Elektra and Dom's vibe with a little bit of interaction they had. And if Dom hadn't gone with Liv, I would have been pushing for him and Elektra. Because the little trio with him, Elektra, Santos, and Andrade early before WrestleMania last year was really cool. They had aura and they synced, and I really, really liked that. So if Dom hadn't gone with Liv, I would have been like really interested with Elektra. But she got released. But all on the X, at least, we had people wailing about, oh, Io deserves better. Oh, she should be getting in WrestleMania. Like, how could she be treated this way? And a lot of fans, not even just Liv fans, that had to be dealing with like getting talked down to because they were telling Liv fans that she's going to be in a tag team, hold the tag rope, and all that. There's a lot of other women's wrestling fans, myself included, where they were just starting to call out the behavior. Like I said in my postings, like, um, I remember the time where I had my fave have her match cut from WrestleMania completely. I've seen other women that get their time cut at WrestleMania. They'd be on pre-show. They would have to fight for every little thing at WrestleMania. You might get one women's or diva match at WrestleMania in the past years. And, you're talking about Io not getting the WrestleMania title match when she's been a Money in the Bank winner. She held the title that for a long time, and then her reign was complete ass. She had a match at WrestleMania, and she had the storyline with Bailey. But she had all this in the last year. Do you know how many people would kill for that type of booking? I'm looking at Naomi now. She's just now getting some decent booking now. But for a while now, in these past 10 years, her booking was trash. Straight trash. This push and pull booking. Sometimes she wouldn't even show up for on the shows for weeks on end. It was horrible. And I know there's other people who has there are fans of other wrestlers that would kill for that type of booking. Like I'm looking at Dominik now. I would kill if Dom had EO's booking right now. I would be really happy. Dominik getting Io's booking, I would be happy. Naomi getting Io's booking, I would be so happy. But right now, when you have these people, not just including Elektra, you had Isaiah, Sonya, Cedric, Giovanni, and Good Brothers. You have all these people getting released, and we might still have more people being released in these next couple of days. We just haven't found out about it. Like, read the room. Like you have wrestlers that lost their jobs, and y'all sitting over here complaining about a wrestler who has been at WrestleMania not getting into a title match. There's, I don't like to say, I don't like to patrol people's feelings because you are entitled to your feelings. I can see being really disappointed with how things turn out. You know how many years I've been disappointed with how Don gets treated at WrestleMania in some of these bookings? Like you go in with hope that something goes on, and then you get disappointed. Like I get disappointed that you're not going to get your preferred match. That's valid. That's your feelings are valid on that. But when you start going extra with it, like they're deserving of this, especially in the light of you already had the match, you already had a WrestleMania match. Like, how can you fix your mouth to say like she deserves a title match, and then when you had Liv and Nia, I'm not gonna exclude Nia from this conversation. When you had Liv and Nia used to build up a lame ass Becky and Rhea match, and they were off the card. We could even get them on the card. I was hoping last year that they would just do some sort of match between Nia and Liv, where they would be like number one contender for whoever wins the match between Rhea and Becky. They could at least done that. Do something small like that. They couldn't even get on the top. They couldn't even get on the card. And yet y'all want to complain about Io not being in the title match. Io is probably going to have some sort of match at WrestleMania. You can't say that for some of these other people. Like, is it a guarantee that who has been used right now? Is it a guarantee that maybe Akira might get on to WrestleMania? Is it a guarantee that Pretty Deadly might not get on there? Now, Pretty Deadly might get on there if they do like a tag team, like turmoil type match. But some of these lower card guys, they might not even get on. They might not even get on WrestleMania card. Some of these lower tier women, like Party Girls, Kaden and Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Is it a guarantee they get on the title? What about Alba Fire? She just lost her tag team partner. Is it a guarantee that she gets on WrestleMania? Read the room. It's okay to be disappointed. I'd be disappointed with a lot of stuff that be going on with Dom. I get it. But I would say that his booking right now is a lot better compared to Giovanni Da Vinci right now. Dom's booking is a lot better than Apollo Crews. I mean, Dom ain't wrestling, but he has a storyline. He's at the center of the storyline. He drives a lot of storylines. I mean, yeah, I would want his win record to be better, and yeah, I would want him to wrestle more, and yeah, I really want him to get a title or Money in the Bank or something like that. I would really want that for him. I want him to become, but right now, he's in a storyline. And right now, since he's in this storyline that is getting a lot of time because he's on there weekly, he's not disappearing for weeks on end. Since he's on there weekly, I have to adjust my focus of what I want. Right now, I want him to be declared the winner. I want him to boot out Finn. That is my goal. Titles and matches, that's secondary right now. Because this right now, we're in WrestleMania season. Story takes precedence. You can have all the matches you want, and kind of to segue back to Dom a little bit. I saw some people complain about how Dom doesn't have matches. Like, when are they going to announce a match for Dom? I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I want to see Dom in matches too. But who could he have a match with? Who on Raw right now could he have a match? Could he could probably run up on Braun Breaker, but is it a guarantee that he will win that match? Like, is he gonna be run up there and just be used as fodder for Braun Breaker? This is not in the absence of like maybe a future IC title shot or something like that. Just like straight up. Do you think Dom will be able to win that match? If he goes up against Seth or Gunther or anything like that, he can have some really good showings with them, but is he going to win it? But all of them are tied up with people. Seth and Gunther are tied up with people. Braun Breaker isn't really tied up with anybody, and Dom could be involved with Braun Breaker pretty soon. So you have that. But at the present time, just to have a match with Dom, who's available? Otis, Akira? He might be able to win something with Akira. Maybe with Otis. Who else is on Raw? Who's on lower card, mid card that Dom could be having a match with right now? Just a match. Not storyline implications, just a match. He could probably fight some of the boys with LWO, but I don't want Dom to be involved with LWO right now. You have to pick and choose your battles. Like, yeah, you want him to wrestle more? Cool, I get it, but who can he wrestle with right now? At this particular moment, you have to focus on it's going to be it's storyline based with Dom, and then the matches will come. It sucked, and I don't want to say be patient because Lord knows you know that I don't tell people to be patient booking. But right now, I think everything with Dom is storyline based, and then as soon as they go kick off with the storyline, that's when they'll pull the trigger and start having matches. Like, as soon as they pull the trigger with Finn, then they'll start having the matches. That a Finn and Dom feud will accumulate in a match for Dom, and then Dom will start having matches to prepare for that. So it's just a matter of getting the storyline synced to where the matches will follow, and Dom will start having matches to prepare for that. So with Dom, it's just a matter of story. And like I said here, with Dom, I would not be surprised with Dom if he ends up some kind of way until the Elimination Chamber match. Because, like I said yesterday, we've Dom has established himself as a replacement, so he could end up replacing Finn. We have the qualifier between Seth and Finn. They can pull off I would believe Dom replacing Finn more than just EO just trying to screw out of somebody else wrestler like Raquel or Roxanne or interfere with that match. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Finn getting replaced by Dom, who's tired of Finn's shit, makes a lot more sense than EO trying to replace somebody. Because if you're going to play EO as a kind of a face-ish, then it wouldn't make sense for EO to try and mess with somebody else's match, even if it is Raquel. You know, it wasn't Raquel that caused. She was distracting, but it wasn't Raquel that caused EO to match with Liv. It was Rhea. So it would just make sense to have EO direct her anger with Rhea instead of like Raquel. Like, I could see EO being upset if it was Raquel that cost the match, and then she wants to go after Raquel. That's fine because that was B Raquel directly interfering to cause EO to lose. Rhea directly caused EO to lose, so it would make more sense to do EO be mad at Rhea. And in Dom's case, Finn could just say so much shit. Like, this week, he could be saying shit like, you know, watch and learn kid again, even though Dom got him the match, and then Dom just had enough. And then we have this attack, maybe a secret attack on Finn, where Finn is injured, and then Dom has to take Finn's place for Elimination Chamber. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways. We'll have to see how it goes on Monday. The Bailey to kind of wrap things up for Monday. We have Bailey versus Lyra, and thank you for the likes, by the way. So we have Bailey versus Lyra. I'm still 50-50 on that. I'm not sure how that's going to go. You can have Ivy Nile cost Lyra, or you can have Cora Jade or Roxanne cost Bailey. And it could be just end up being Cora Jade because Bailey has that match with Cora Jade on Tuesday on NXT. So it can go a couple of different ways for Bailey. Even and that's the thing. And Cora is a wild card for Roxanne and Raquel too. Okay. So I think Cora is gonna be a more of a wild card than I think. If she doesn't show up, I'll be surprised because Cora did attack um Bailey on NXT. So it would make more sense for Cora to show up for Bailey, and it would make sense for Cora to show up for Roxanne, especially like if Roxanne loses, because Vengeance Day is this Saturday. And that's NXT's PLE. So if Roxanne loses, then she shows up for the Raquel match. Cora can, and if Roxanne does something to Cora during that match, then Cora can follow her along and start some shit with Roxanne because that's not a guarantee. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of different ways you can lose a match, and something can happen with Roxanne and Raquel. Just because Roxanne is getting pulled up into the main roster right now, it doesn't mean that she's guaranteed a win. This isn't a Tiffany situation where Tiffany was already on the main card and she got into Elimination Chamber. Roxanne is still splitting her time with NXT. And I wouldn't be surprised if Roxanne didn't really finish up all her NXT business until Stand and Deliver, which is the NXT pay-per-view before WrestleMania night 1. So, like I said, a lot of different stuff is in the air. I'm pretty sure a lot of stuff will get probably settled in these coming couple of weeks. We'll see tomorrow if Finn is still the demented demon that's an ass to Dom. We'll see if Dom takes action against Finn. We'll see if Dom will end up in the conversation with Broad Breaker for the Intercontinental title. We'll see if they declare a match between Rhea and Io because Rhea screwed up again tomorrow. I think a lot of stuff gets started, or at least we start. I think we get a lot more leads more solidified in these next couple of weeks to WrestleMania because we'll see all the pathways to the Elimination Chamber, and then we'll start to see how the matches are forming up for WrestleMania. Usually they start off early, but I think they held off on some stuff because of The Rock, and they have to kind of adjust for that again. So Rock decided he's not coming, so they have to adjust, and then everything else has to adjust because of that. But anywho, let's see. I talked about Elektra, talked about Raw. I just wanted to get that out because I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's time for a crash out for Raquel. I know people aren't really pulling for Raquel, and then they're just more worried that Liv is going to take the loss than Raquel, but I don't think they're going to lose that. Liv still needs some momentum. She's still the heel. She still needs those wins. I mean, it doesn't do Liv any good to take a loss, and she already took a loss with Naomi that they haven't really followed up on just yet. So it doesn't do any good for Liv to lose. Liv is like the heel on Raw right now. She still needs to be protected, and I don't think she will just take a loss like that in the tag team match. So I'm really thinking Liv and Raquel will win. And let's go here. Let's answer some questions. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Flower says they will probably attack Io and Dakota before the match. They could do that, but I'm thinking that it's going to be during the match because I think they're going to, like I said, I think they're going to come out and start scuffling, and it's going to bring out Rhea to try and correct their mistake from last week, and then that's all that chaos distracts them, which ends up with Dakota getting pinned because I don't think Io can get pinned right now, it'll be Dakota. So she'll be the pin taker for this situation. But they could attack before, like they have been. They've been kind of doing some sneak attacks on like Cody and Dakota those times to cover up injuries. But I think it's going to be during the match. And thinking more for the likes. Senor says AJ will probably challenge Braun for the IC title at EC. I'm kind of hoping not. I kind of hope AJ doesn't get involved with title matches right now. For some reason, I just don't want him. I kind of want him around Finn for a little bit, just so Finn will have somebody, for this feud. Because I think Finn would need a little bit of backup if Dom they finally pull the trigger on the Dom thing. So I think Finn would need to be with AJ, which is an original, Bullet Club. So they could do that. AJ just going for Intercontinental with Braun Breaker. I don't want AJ to be fed to Braun Breaker, especially when we have all these other people that's kind of lingering around, like Penta. I would even say Penta. Like we got some other people that could be challenging Braun Breaker for the IC. So Sheamus again, something like that. They do need to expand the circle though. Like I wouldn't even mind like Otis, like throw in Otis or something like that for Braun Breaker. I'd rather have somebody like that get thrown in than just AJ at this particular moment. There's another question. I know I saw it. Guess that was that. Let's see. Go down here. Kendall says, "Hello, Kendall. More people are starting to realize that Dom is the glue. Dom has always been the glue. Riccolo, I'm not sure if he's here now, but Riccolo pretty much pegged it from the get go, where he said like Dom was the one that gave Rhea layers. Dom is the one that made everything better. He elevated people. And now that he's removed from people, like with Damien, like with Rhea, everything falls apart. Like, Dom holds it down. La Familia probably wouldn't be so good without Dom. Judgment Day right now wouldn't be so good without Dom. Remove Dom and then everything just goes to crap. And that's his power. He elevates because he knows his character. He knows how to play his character. So it brings the attention. And that's a good skill to have. Like, if you're able to elevate everything around you, that's really good because it's not just focused on yourself. Now, I do think they're taking advantage of that, and I think he needs to start being a little bit more selfish with his booking. But it's a good skill to have to be able to elevate yourself along with other people. Let's see here. Oh, Joaquin, thank you for the likes. You gave me a lot of likes. Thank you. Senor says, "Do you miss La Familia video promos?" I do. I do think we need more promos. If you're going to be having Dom just for 30 minutes, or not 30 minutes, 30 seconds during the Raw, we need some more promos. And we need to have Dom they need to be doing some more promo and background work during Raw. Like, you can't restrict Judgment Day just to one segment. And I think that's why a lot of people are frustrated right now. Is because before we had Judgment Day all over the place, like with promos, background moments, and things like that. You can do more with Dom. Like, we need to see like Dom like maybe talking to Adam Pierce in the background. We need to see like Liv and Raquel like sneaking around in the background or something like that. We need more clubhouse scenes with Judgment Day, and we do need stuff with we need more stuff with La Familia. Like, we should have had like, you remember 2 weeks ago when we had the scene that was only like on the X of with Raquel, Chad Gable, and Dom. Like, we should have been having that on TV, and that shows more of their chemistry as well because that showed a lot of storyline progression. We saw where Chad was confirming about who to talk to learn the dark arts of Lucha Libre, and then Dom reiterating that Chad owes him a favor. We saw Liv letting Dom call the shots, and we also saw Raquel backing Dom's play, which I really, really enjoyed. I really loved how Raquel stood up for Dom in that segment, and that's what should be on TV. Like, we need to see that. Like, Liv is allowing Dom his play, and we are seeing Raquel back the play, and then Dom is pretty much calling the shots. And that's something that could be emphasized now with these promos backstage or just in ring or something like that. Like, this coming up Monday, you can have like how everything is coming up roses. Liv and Raquel are really giving Dom his props. Like, yeah, we're winning this. We have a tag team title. If they want to bring this up, we have a tag team title opportunity in the future, possibly. I'm in Elimination Chamber. Raquel's going to be in Elimination Chamber next week. We have this match with Io and Dakota, and everything's coming up roses with them. And then, you can even have Carlito. Somebody suggested with Carlito that Dom could give him advanced copy of WWE 2K25 just for the funny aspect, the hilarious aspect. Like Carlito could be like singing Dom's praises for for Dom giving him an advanced copy of WWE 2K25. He won't have JT. Maybe he mentions that he and JD have been playing online, like while JD is out with his injuries. Like he could be mentioning that he's been playing with JD with the game, and he's really liking it. And he's really giving Dom um, his props for getting him that advanced copy. And then when it comes to Finn, you can see him sulking about it, and he's like has to reluctantly give Dom his props, or he could just be the demented demon that he is, and then like saying I could have got the title match, the elimination chamber qualifier myself, and all that. And then we could see that more at that fraction point, but that would at least advance the stories a lot because you can see where Dom's leadership is coming into play. Because when Dom took the reins, using his quiet leadership, everything is better. Liv is on the verge of getting back to the title, and Liv and Raquel could be having tag team titles, and then Carlito has his advanced copy of 2K25. And then if they wanted to, they could either, like I said, they could either have it where Finn has to concede, or you can have Finn be an ass about it, and then maybe that triggers Dom having enough of it, and then he just takes Finn out, either on screen or behind the screens, and then he takes his place in Elimination Chamber. I'm kind of hoping he kind of does that because I'm not sure what they're going to be doing with Braun Breaker. The Braun Breaker thing needs to start soon if they're going to involve Dom. So if they're going to be doing the Sin and Dawn thing, that trigger needs to be pulled. Something with Elimination Chamber. If they're going to be doing something with the Braun Breaker, that trigger needs to be pulled. It's just like a whole bunch of triggers that need to be pulled in these next coming up weeks. But like I said, Judgment Day makes Raw flow better as they're the anchor points, and they need to go back to that formula. Judgment Day is pretty much the faction on Raw right now, and the only heel faction. So they just need to just start using them as anchor points. I mean, I thought Bloodline would be more of a faction on Raw, but we don't have Jimmy on there. We don't have Roman Reigns. We don't have all the Bloodline here. So what's the point? They seem like they're still stuck on Timu. Bloodline is over there on SmackDown still. So it's not like we have a faction that can help with these anchor points like Judgment Day did in the past. So I think they just need to restart that, and just have Judgment Day be all over the place again. And I think it'll work because you got guys, you got girls, you got the women, so they could be all over the place and have their fingers in everything like it was. And people might be bitching, will probably bitch about it, but again, they help with the cadence of Raw. When they appear everywhere, it helps. Start off with them walking in, have a in-ring promo, do a callback to what they used to do when they just interrupted people. They can do the clubhouse scenes. You can have the background shenanigans, all that. Let's see. Yeah. Flower says if Io or Dakota win, Liv and Raquel will probably attack them after the match and Rhea comes out. They probably could have that too. Rhea probably be over there, and then I really don't want Rhea to be just manhandling Liv and Raquel. They need to get away from that. We had that all the way last year where Rhea was manhandling Liv and Raquel is just now starting to get her credibility back a little bit. So we don't need that to happen. I hope they don't do that. Rhea can focus, she's still focused on Liv for some sort of way. So hopefully they just do like where Rhea just gets fooled again into attacking somebody and causing any other match again. That's what I'm hoping, because I don't want Liv and Raquel to be always running away. I need them to start fighting back. I need Raquel to get her fighting back, and I don't want Dom around that too. I do have a kind of a theory on how I would use Dom, but I'm gonna save that until I'm sure on how things look onto the road, the actual road into WrestleMania after Elimination Chamber, because I do think this could be a significant point with Dom and Rhea. Like if they actually allow him to do what I think they could allow him to do. That's a spoiler for what I think. So if they allow this to happen, especially here's a hint, especially with how they're promoting a certain aspect of 2K25. Things come around to that. I'm not saying I would want this to be a match, but it could just be an action that needs to happen. And I'll leave it at that. Kendall says, "Do you think Jade caused Bianca and Naomi to tag titles?" I think she does. I think she goes after Naomi. People are saying that Bianca could turn heel, but I think this is more for Naomi. Naomi got the biggest benefit from Jade being out, and I never did see where Bianca was just being like jealous and annoyed with Jade. Like they need to play Bianca's role more like as being annoyed or not wanting to help her out a little bit more if they wanted to go that route. And like I said, Triple H ain't subtle. They needed to do Bianca, Bianca needed to be presented differently if they wanted to have it where she wanted to get away from Jade. Naomi got the more of the benefit, and they also could just go with Naomi and Bianca like in on it together, like they gave each other alibis. Naomi with Bailey, and then Bianca with her being in that match. But then again, like I said, it doesn't make sense for her to give up that match. Like there's some things that just don't make sense, if you know what I mean. But I do think Jay does cost them. It's just dependent on how they want to pull the trigger on it. Do they want to pull Naomi and make her heel or Bianca? And I don't think they want to make Bianca heel just yet. Let's get the smaller one. Yep, the least amount of milk. Yep, yeah, the new one's too big for you right now. Yeah. So I do think Jade will come back and attack. It's just a matter of what they want to do. Do they want to pull it for Naomi or Bianca or both? But whatever she comes back, it's going to trigger their match for WrestleMania. Let's see. Yeah. Here. Let's see. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Senora says, who should help Dom if he beats Finn at WrestleMania? That's interesting. I almost would say like JD. Keep it Judgment Day. Like have JD be out because he does have the broken ribs and the punctured lung. Like let him heal up, and then with Finn and Dom at WrestleMania, have their match. Finn is on the verge of winning. Then you have JD come out, and Finn thinks that JD is on his side, and that's when JD turns on Finn. Now, people are saying that JD could go face, but I'm not sure the injury would keep him face. Like he would get the return pop, but it's kind of I don't want it to be like a Charlotte situation where he gets that like return pop and then it goes heel because he's face. Like I don't see how he can beat right now his current Irish Ace character. I'm not sure how it can be face. Like I would just want him to be just more shift to more like his NXT or NXT UK persona where he was really, really sadistic. And I think he could pull that off. Like, if you're thinking of like game terms and stuff like that, he could be like the Sicario for Dom. I mean, that's his boy. They got together. Dom was taking care of him. Dom stepped up. I would think it would probably go with JD helping out Dom there to help with Finn, and it would make sense. I mean, you can have that initial. You can give JD that initial return ovation, and then you can flip it where he just attacks Finn because JD was getting treated not too nice about Finn too as well. So I wouldn't want them to squander like a really good heel character just because he might get a face reaction that may not last. Like he goes face and then what will JD do? But barring that, if it isn't JD, like if we could ever get Ray Phoenix around, Penta's brother, maybe have Ray Phoenix join up with Dom there. And then you can have that feud with Dom and Penta. If Ray Phoenix can ever get away from Tony Khan and AEW. Otherwise, for guys helping out Dom, I'm trying to think of some other ones. You can do a Tony D'Angelo if they wanted to have him heel. You can do like OT. What is it? OTD. I always kind of like wanted to have OTD, which is Jada Parker and her tag team down there in NXT, because they have a cholo vibe. I kind of wanted them to kind of hook up with Dom too, just to give Dom a gang of sorts. And I think he could pull that off too. Like have somebody from NXT like them, OTD. They're not really doing anything. They're not giving them the tag titles. Like just call them up as Dom's boys from prison, and you're off to the races. And you said, "Are you enjoying the Super Bowl?" I watched bits and pieces of the Super Bowl. I was not a fan of the Chiefs, so I didn't really want to put my energy into watching the Super Bowl. I just know that the Eagles won, and I did watch the halftime show, but I didn't really watch the Super Bowl. Usually, I do watch the Super Bowl, but since the Chiefs have been in there, and I don't like how they've been playing this year with the referees and politicking and all that, it wasn't going to be enjoyable for me. I just need to go back and watch the commercials because I missed some of the. Let's see. T said, "Do you know when Brock Lesnar will be back?" I don't know, and hopefully not. He doesn't come back. He's already been named in another suit by the accuser for Vince McMahon. I forgot her name, but he was already named in the suit, and that's a really ugly looking suit that she brought against Vince and mentioning with Brock. And I don't want Brock to be back. I didn't really like Brock there to begin with in the later times because he would just come up, show up, leave, attack, hold the title hostage for months on end, and I just never did like Brock. He ended Kofi's streak. He ended Kofi's title reign. So I don't want Brock to come back. I don't want to see him. That's just me personally. Senor says, I'm still waiting to see the new Judgment Day entrance in WWE 2K25. Hopefully, the 5 people. Yeah, we really need that entrance. Some people are saying that they have to give like Dom and Liv the Edge and Lita entrance, and either was it 2K24, 2K25. They said that they had to kind of use the Dom and the Edge and Lita entrance, and not what they have the uppies that they have now. With it, I was like, y'all had like a whole year, like they've been doing that uppies thing like since last year. Like this game is gonna be sort of out of date before it even hits the shelf. Kendall says Rhea still being associated with Liv shows that they think she's going to sink, not swim. Exactly, Kendall. Exactly. I've been preaching about how Rhea needed people around her to make herself relevant, and how she needed Dom, how she needed Liv. This is why Liv is going to probably go to WrestleMania. They need the story. Liv and Rhea have a built-in story. They need the story. Otherwise, she's just flailing in the wind. That's why EO going against Rhea at WrestleMania won't do anything, because how can you get a story out of EO with her limited English? She's a good wrestler, yeah, but it's just a match. You can have a match anytime. WrestleMania is for story. Liv has the story. And you still have her, and you still need to have Bria attached to somebody that can give her that story. It's kind of like how she keeps attacking Dom. Like, it's like, she already has the title, but at Royal Rumble weekend, she was talking about, like, Braun didn't last long, like 2 or 3 seconds or something like that. And, and people were just like, why are you still mentioning Dom? You won the title. You kicked him in the balls and gave him a riptide. Why are you still talking about him? Like, at some point, you need to that needs to get let go. So it's kind of like how with Damien using Dom for the pop at Royal Rumble. Like, his only pop was tossing out Dom at the Royal Rumble. They're still trying to use Dom and Liv to prop them up now. And I would be really annoyed if anything happens where Liv is still out and they just using Liv to build up the storylines, because that's what happened last year. Liv should not be trying to build up storylines for other people, and she can't benefit, and then she can't even get on the WrestleMania card. I will be pissed if that happens again because you can't keep doing that. You know, sooner or later, these, Rhea's got to sink or swim on her own. Just the same thing with Damien. You can't just keep putting other people around them and then, using them just to prop somebody else up. She's gonna have to figure it out. And that's why I said if they do Liv and Rhea again, that's why they need to like strip Rhea's characterization down to the brass tacks and rebuild her back up. She can't keep being this overpowering mommy character because that's not really a character. That's just how she. That's just a presentation of a person. That's not a character. Liv is the one that's giving her all this interest. Because look at as soon as Liv was reinserted back with Rhea. Notice how everything got spun up and was more interesting. You got Io being mad with Rhea now. You don't have Rhea just doing this like 20-second promo and then nothing else with her. Now you have something going on. Something is being built with Liv being reinserted. Same way with Dom. Like if Dom ends up being in there in some kind of way, that brings more interest back to Rhea. But like I said, if they're going to go that route, they have to use the history. We cannot we cannot do like what they did last year and then just have Dom be reduced to chicken tendies and playing video games. We need the history, and Michael Cole does not need to sugarcoat it or try to rewrite it or insult viewers' intelligence. We need the history. We need the history. The history makes storylines better. Look at what happened with Bloodline. Even though Bloodline is struggling right now, we had so many characters with intertwining histories where they're pulling stuff from 10 years ago. See with Seth and CM Punk and Seth and Roman Reigns, they're pulling in stuff from 10 years ago. With Rhea, we couldn't even use that. Like we couldn't even use stuff from 2 years ago. Dom couldn't even reference how he was beat into Judgment Day. We can't he couldn't reference how he was treated during the ultimatum. We can't mention how like Rhea would flirt with other guys in front of him. He couldn't reference that as a point to be a justified heel like Drew McIntyre. And then they wouldn't let the betrayal hit as hard because they had Rhea just brush off the betrayal. Like, why would you have Dom betray Rhea, turn heel again? Like, I've never seen a person turn heel again from being a heel. He turned heel twice in one night. This man had the biggest, heel turn at SummerSlam while he was a heel, and then he couldn't capitalize off of it. And I was have that be. I'm still pissed with that with Triple H and Rhea with that because you robbed Dom of his heat. He should be having nuclear get out of the arena type heat. You're going to get buried under the arena type heat from what he did to Rhea, but he couldn't capitalize off of it. If we run this again, that we need to get Dom to be able to have his heat again, and same thing with Liv. Dom should be able to just should be able to tell Rhea like, hey, yeah, I cheated on Liv, but it's not when you think we hooked up. We hooked up a long time ago, and we've been playing you for a fool. We orchestrated you getting attacked. We orchestrated you getting hurt. We orchestrated what else have they done? We orchestrated just imploding Judgment Day from the inside. There's a lot of stuff that can be said there. But like I said, they just have to say the history. If they don't, it's going to be lackluster. We can't sugarcoat it now. Everything needs to be all hands on deck if we do Liv and Rhea. Oh, no. Flower says, I think Liv could take the title from Rhea and Liv this time could beat Rhea after the final two. That's what I'm thinking because I think Liv needs the belt if she's going to feud with Becky. Like I said yesterday, I would have Becky return after Raw, after WrestleMania. I wouldn't have Becky show up now. I think that throws too much stuff into flux unless they're just going to go like Liv Becky at WrestleMania. And I think that's more of a rush right there. I mean, the history is there, but I think that would need a little bit more build. If Liv had the title at Royal Rumble, if Liv had the title at the premiere, kept it, and then Becky returned around like Royal Rumble, um, then I could see like having this build to WrestleMania for Liv and Becky because we have a lot more time. Right now, I don't think we have enough time to give Liv and Becky justice. And I think that's going to be a multi PLE feud when Becky comes back. So you could just have Liv win the title, and then the next Raw, you have Becky return, and you can kick that off. Let's see here. Senior says this week is Valentine's Day. I'm so excited. Oh yeah, I meant to mention that it is Valentine's Day, so we might get some Liv Dom shenanigans this week. It may not be on Monday. It might be on Friday because Valentine's Day is Friday. So we might get something this week. I'm hoping we do get something like they did for like Rhea and Dom 2, 3 years ago. If y'all remember that, like we need something like that. We need the Valentine's date. We need something else going on. If not that, we're gonna have either get some kind. We need something like roses or something like that. For Liv for Valentine's Day. We need something. Uh, Kendall says we need Dom to do Scorched Earth promo, which should have happened after SummerSlam. Yeah, that's what we needed. That's what I thought they were going to do when I went to the Austin Raw. It was looking like Dom was getting gearing up to say like this Scorched Earth promo, and then it switched, and you could tell Austin like something changed. Like he was going in prepared to say one thing, and then they changed it on him. And a lot of people point to that particular Raw as the turning point on how Dom and Liv were going to be treated, because that's when Rhea was starting to get whatted. Like Austin whatted, gave her what chance? Like you're gonna get that pop, but she got whatted for the rest of the promo. And then you had Dom reduced to that she continued the video games. And then Liv wasn't able to do anything, and that's when they had Super Damien around here, just manhandling them, and people bitched. And then that's when we got the bone throw of Dom and Judgment Day taking out Damien and Rhea the next week. But we could see the shift happen there. But like you said, Kendall, we do need the Scorched Earth promo. We need the Scorched Earth promo from Liv. We need the Scorched Earth promo from Dom. Dom especially. He needs that. If we're gonna make Dom leader of the Judgment Day, he needs that Scorched Earth promo to just completely annihilate Rhea. That's what Rhea's character needs. Like she needs to get taken down a lot. Like we need to start seeing the ego crumble. Like Rhea thinks she's hot shit, and then Dom comes around and be like, "Hey, I mean, you weren't. I mean, she's thinking that Dom was like loyal to her, but nah, he was running around with people in NXT until he met Liv. He hooked up with Liv, and they were having an affair under her nose for months. They orchestrated the attack, which got her injured, and they ran the scheme of taking Judgment Day from her and Damien. We need that. We need that promo. We need that. We need that reestablishing point because that will help Liv and Dom to reestablish themselves. Flower says, I see Liv and Raquel taking the titles with Naomi and Bianca. They could do that. And like I said, I think they can do a double champ with Liv being the women's champion and tag teams. Because like I said, I think that would give New Judgment Day or even La Familia credibility because would have gold. And that's a quick way to reestablish themselves. And then you can, get maybe they can lose the titles later on in a multi-woman match where nobody has to get pinned. And I think that is it. We'll see how everything goes on Monday. I do think, like I said, I think Liv and Raquel will win tomorrow because I think they need that to sow more dissension between Io and Rhea. It wouldn't do any good just for Io to win because I don't think she'll just get into. I don't think she'll just get into the chamber match just because she won a tag team title. Just because not a tag team, just because she won a tag match. Like what's the point? Why would Adam Pearce put her in a chamber match again that she lost? Like I don't think Adam Pearce or they would do that. Senior says, "What if Liv and Dom become double champions?" I would love that to be double champions. We were wanting Dom to get some kind of title so he can have a belt while Liv had the belt, and maybe that's still the agenda on there. Like we need to have the power couple like Edge and Lita where they both had belts because that's the awesome visual. But yeah, like I said, I'm thinking I'm really what is that? The kiddo says that was a nice Eagle Chief lived on post. What was that, Kendall? Is that on the X somewhere? Let's see. Let me check the X. X. Ricochet says I won. Ricochet. Where is this thing? I might have to look for it later. The Super Bowl over its Elimination Chamber season. Yeah. So it's the X. Okay. So who posted that Eagles lived on thing? I have to look for it later. Oh, Hex is failing me. But yeah, we'll see how what happens tomorrow on Raw. Hopefully we get this is what I'm saying, this is where I hope we get storyline progression. I need Liv and Raquel to win. I think Raquel needs to win. Raquel just needs to get on the win. She needs that win to establish herself some more. And sorry Dakota, and you're just gonna have to take that loss. Raquel needs to build up, so she needs to win. Dom, we need to see what's going on with him. We need to either have him be taken out Finn for elimination chamber spot, or we have him in an IC or something. We need something going on. And other than that, we'll see how the other qualifier between Bailey and Lyra go. I will be live probably at 10:30. I don't know if I could do 10 o'clock. CST. I'll be live tomorrow after Raw. We'll be discussing, and hopefully everything goes good for us. We'll see how everything goes, and I will be back with any more latest news. Hopefully the releases stop. I don't want to. I hope we don't see any more releases on Monday for wrestlers. I mean, this is WrestleMania season. People should be getting able to enjoy the WrestleMania season and getting their checks and whatnot. I hope we don't get any more releases. Um, but that is that. I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys rock. Like I said, you let me hit a milestone recently, and I really, really, really appreciate it. Senor says Liv needs some new merch, and Raquel too. Yeah, Liv hasn't had merch in months. Months. Raquel needs some merch too, but Liv hasn't had any merch in months. But guess who keeps getting a shirt? Rhea. Like Rhea was getting a shirt, and like the Terror Twins were getting a shirt, and Liv and Dom only got a shirt after so many long. Like I have that shirt. Like it took forever just to get a Liv Dom shirt, and Liv Dom fans had to like start making their own shirt. But it took forever, and it doesn't make sense on why Liv can't get a shirt, but Rhea can get a shirt like almost every month. It seems like it's ridiculous. Like that's some bias right there. Like I mean, you're gonna get merch sales, but you have a new shirt. Like Dom did really well with his shirts, like his tarot card shirt and his Latino cheat shirt and the Liv Dom shirt. Like they do really well when they pull out when they put out the merch. But you can't do well if you don't put out the merch. Like you're gonna artificially inflate things, kind of like how John Cena has like a shirt for every color of the rainbow, because that just artificially inflates merch sales. Like you're always gonna have a shirt, and people are gonna always buy a new shirt. Like Liv deserves merch, Raquel deserves merch. But yeah, anywho, I will be back tomorrow. I'm gonna try and put this out tomorrow on YouTube. Thank y'all for the likes. Thanks you for joining me. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.